Peace, family. So we back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how you are a few years ahead of your peers. You are a few years ahead of your peers. And what I mean by being a few years ahead of them, I'm speaking of as far as in the spiritual realm. They can be older than you in this physical realm. They can be 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years older than you, but you're still ahead of them by a few years in the spiritual realm. And what kind of dove me into this subject today was I just kind of been out here doing a little meditation, a little self-reflecting, and I had a few conversations with some family members and some peers that I have of mine. And on top of doing the reflecting and just kind of trying to puzzle everything together, because I'm always looking for new ways to kind of either receive information or a way to construct a way to send the information back out into the universe. And me coming up to this conclusion today, which I've discussed this before, but it was just, a few more beings had came across my pathway and forced me to do some more reflecting, and it brought me to this point. And I realized I wouldn't say we have a physical number as far as how far we are ahead of them. It's hard to correlate the physical time with the spiritual time until it actually takes place in the spiritual, in the physical realm. And my first instance that I thought of when I was younger was how when I moved to Virginia, it's a small story, and then I'll kind of keep going into the process. Y'all know how I do over here. But when I was younger, I would say probably like 9 or 10 years old, I went to go visit my sperm donor. And he really wanted me to get my ears pierced when I was up there in New York with him. And at the time, I didn't want to get both my ears pierced. I only wanted to get one ear pierced. Your left ear means it was the style, the swag back then, meant you straight. If you only got your right ear pierced, that meant you was part of the LGBT community. That's neither here nor there. But I did want my one left ear pierced. And when I saw him, he had both his ears pierced. At the time, for me, it was still so new that 2 piercings were only for females at the time. And I just kept thinking, no, I don't want to get both my ears pierced. I don't want to get both my ears pierced. We get to the ear piercing place, and lo and behold, we end up punching both my ears. I ended up making myself be okay with it because it was already done. The hole was already punctured. It was already there. Fast forward, we moved down to Virginia. The city I was in, nobody in my school had both their ears pierced in middle school. No boys in middle school had both their ears pierced. None. And I actually came down in elementary school, so I was repeating my 5th grade year because I couldn't stop fighting. Clearly, I have a problem. Worked on it since then. I'm a grown man now, but yeah, I had to repeat 5th grade for suspension so much from fighting. Anyways, I get down to Virginia, no boys had both the ears pierced. I seen a couple guys at the school that had one ears pierced. Make it to middle school, now it's a couple more people that's catching on. They got both their ears pierced. Get to high school, it seemed like all guys had both their ears pierced. And I just kept thinking, damn, that was something that I didn't want to do at the time, but it still occurred anyways. So I just kind of took it on the chin, just rolled with it, and I kept going forward. Fast forward, I have life happening. I'm going through high school, made it out of high school. I was the one in high school who I basically dressed, and my swag was more so of what it is today. In school, everybody had to have the same stuff on. They had to have Jordans. They all had to do the exact same thing. Now you can blend and mold whatever you want to wear today, and it's fine. But that was how my style was back in high school. Big bro I get home from my situation that I had to go do my time for or whatever, and I run into my big bro. My big bro sees me. He like, oh, you done got your weight up. Oh, you done got some more tattoos. I had more tattoos. I had tattoos before I went in, but I had got a couple more tattoos. And that was the next thing that he did. And what's crazy is I did that years before. He had plenty enough time to get tattoos and, you know, get his weight up. But when he came home and saw me, now he wanted to get his weight up. He got more tattoos. He got all his tattoos in the exact same places I had mine in, just different tattoos. We did go get these crowns together. I got mine filled in, and he got his not filled in. And fast forward a little bit more past that, I grew my hair out. I stopped getting haircuts in 2014. It's 2025 now. I go visit my bro. Now he has stopped cutting his hair and he's growing his hair too now. And at the time I was just thinking, damn, this is crazy. Like, my bro always been positioned better than me. You know, he met his girl in college. She was practicing to do law. He was like an architect major in school. So the finances and all the material stuff was always at the forefront for him. So it never crossed my mind that, you know, emulating what I'm doing or picking parts of me that he want for himself. Fast forward a little bit later, I'm just keeping this family oriented. I got plenty of associates I could start naming, but I just wanted to keep it family based oriented to show how close home it happens. I talked to my younger bro recently. First off, with my younger bro, he a year younger than me. So, and we got the same mom, we grew up same household, blah, blah, all this good stuff, you know. I love him to death still. Either way, it didn't matter how it went. Still my bro. He called me up, I'm still gonna pull up and, you know, show out. That's just how I always been. But when we were younger, my household always used to look down on me for smoking my weed. I liked to take my flowers, my medicine. At the time, it wasn't my medicine. It was just something that I wanted to do, so I did it. Now, I do it in increments. I only blow at nighttime because the chemicals in it doesn't allow me to stay productive. The marijuana doesn't make me hee-hee-ha, laugh and giggle and joke and have fun anymore and relax. It comes with a whole bunch of other anxieties and worries. So I chilled out on that. And if you see any of my videos in the beginning, I actually used to smoke in the beginning of my videos. Not just only in the beginning, but when I first started doing videos, my podcast, Godcast, I was smoking in my videos, different place. But they always used to shun me and look at me like I was this bad person for smoking weed. A few years later down the line, now my little bro is smoking weed and now my mom's is all for it. Now it's a good thing, even though she used to smoke and I had smoked with her before then. But it didn't become this, oh, it's good thing until my bro started doing it. And I'm just like, damn, all these years y'all looked at me and complained and bitched and moaned at me for doing my own thing. Now, little bro doing it and now it's okay, it's a pass. It's like some kind of golden touch on it and now everything is cool. Cool. Fast forward to current day time, my little bro has gotten into the spiritual realm now. We talked, he's giving me, you know, spiritual information knowledge. He just kind of speaking to me as far as how he communicate now. We haven't talked since like last year sometime, you know. That's how it is with your siblings sometimes. If y'all don't see eye to eye, y'all just distance yourself when you're grown. You know, it's no hate and no bad blood there. Like I said before, I'm still pulling up for my bro. But anyways, he's into his spiritual journey now. And I just kept thinking to myself, damn, I've been on this journey since 2016. I really started getting more informed in 2014, 2015, but I didn't fully start ascending into the path until about 2016. So it's been almost 10 years I've been walking this way of life. And none of them in my family, none of them, not one of them, have ever shared a piece of my content. They never bigged me up. My bro even actually told me when he reached out to me and we was talking, was saying how he always used to look up to me, I'm big bro and all this other shit. But at the same time, it's like, bro, when I was doing my music, you never once shared any of my music. I tried to collab with you to help you with your bodybuilding and your personal training stuff, because I'm in the digital world. I could help you with the digital marketing. I got the camera. I could shoot some videos. I could help you with some advertisement. I was just thinking of how to get the family incorporated together so we could start working and doing things together. He didn't want to hear it. Cool. You know what I mean? We in this place now to where now he has the spiritual insight and talking to me about, you know, everything that's been happening on in his realm, how he been raising his vibration and frequency, you know, how he be tapped in with the quote-unquote angel numbers. That's a whole nother thing. I'm not a believer in horoscopes or angel numbers. Numbers is a form of communication. So to solely say they're angel numbers, you have to be naive to a degree, because the demonic team can communicate with you through numbers as well. It's just a form of communication. That's like saying Morse code is God's code. Like, the demon team can communicate with you through Morse code. The demonic team can communicate with you through sign language, through your inner thought process. It's numerous ways. Numbers is just a form of communication. There is no such thing as angel numbers. This is where me and him has started, like, not really bumping heads, but I could tell that my insight was bumping his, because this is where he was at in his journey. I was trying to explain to him, like, bro, like, I'm proud of you that you in this space now, you know what I mean? Like, I can tell where you at in your journey. As soon as I said that, it was, oh, you don't know where I'm at in my journey, blah, 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 and start going off about all this other shit. And I just kept thinking to myself, damn, bro, I've been doing this almost 9 years now. Publicly. I was already spiritually working on myself way before then. I've always been the black sheep of the family, which means I've always been outspoken and stood up. I've always been more justice seeking, everything in that field. And it's just like, how could you say that you looked up to me and I've been your big brother and you want to be similar to me, but then you don't ask me any questions and you don't want any insight? And I'm sitting here explaining to you how, when you've been walking this way of life for a while, first of all, you can read minds. I hate when people say, oh, I'm not a mind reader. That's because your vibration is so low. If your vibration wasn't that low, you would be able to read minds. Or if you knew how to focus your energy, you would be able to read minds. Actions, people walk a life in their actions, how they're reflecting their inward outwardly, is always some kind of sign or signal as far as where they're at in their journey, because it's reflective in the outside realm. When he was speaking of all this stuff, I just kept thinking, damn, I remember when I was at the beginning of my journey and I start seeing all these videos on manifestation and, you know, angel numbers and all this stuff with the horoscopes and, you know, like all of that stuff. You can use some of that stuff for communication, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a fan of any of it, so I don't follow it. You cannot tell me that I'm the same Libra as another Libra that's not vibrating on their highest frequency. We had a little pushback right there, but I was just explaining to him, like, bro, when you in this spiritual realm and you are aware there's a ranking system and you can see where people are at in the spiritual realm. It's no different when you look out here and you see somebody play a sport that you know, or you see somebody drawing. If you're a painter, you see somebody painting. Depending on what kind of work you do, you could tell where somebody's level is at. If you're an electrician, you'd be like, oh, okay, I like the way you did that job. But then you go through and look at it, you could see a couple things that they could have done differently or better, which they could have just made mistakes. But when you are a super professional, you don't make the kind of mistakes that they made, so you could just kind of tell where their electrician skills is at. If you're watching a painter, you can kind of tell where their painting skills is at. Even though painting is more free-flowing, so it just depends on which area you're in as far as like painting and artwork and crafts, because there is no perfection in that space. Like, somebody could go on there and just go, and to somebody that's a masterpiece, to somebody else, it looks like they could have done some things a little bit differently. But as I'm explaining it to him, right, I'm just thinking like, damn, bro, it seems like everywhere I'm at, you reach those points to where I'm at years later down the road. Instead of just vibing with me, taking the information that I do have, because I am big bro and I have been in this space for a while, you'd rather just run around on your own, which is fine, and do it, but then come back and recite the information to me. But in my world, it's like, bro, I've already been there. My little bro is even growing his hair out now. I seen him with the little locks on one of his pictures and stuff, and it's like, bro, clearly I've been doing this for years already. I'm a lot of years ahead of you, and it's not anything wrong with that, but when you want to start being non-receptive to information, especially from people that do care about you, that will still go out on the limb for you, it's still kind of like a slap in the face. Like, my family been slapping me in my face since I've been little. That's why I don't really have a relationship with a lot of my family. And most of us was raised in the church, but everybody don't follow the creator and source. Everybody raised in the church, but everybody don't follow source and creator. It's always way out there in the wind for me, like it's blowing now. And I just couldn't help but smile. I didn't get mad or frustrated, because I'm already past that space. But it helped me understand that a lot of things that we are doing now that people don't comprehend, scratch that. People do comprehend. People don't want to acknowledge or take heed or information from us, especially if it's people close to us. People close to us refuse to ask us for anything, to get any insight from us. It's almost like they like to go figure it out and come back and either pour on to us or just go into this big spew about all the things that they've been doing, and we've already been there. It's like they come back telling you about this new shoe store, and it's like, bro, like, I already went to that shoe store 2 years ago. Like, it's a new shoe store to you, but to me, that's an old shoe store. Y'all see the locks is blowing, so y'all know the wind is pretty rough out here. So I cannot tell how the audio is doing right now, but. And as I process little bro, excited for him, you know, that he is in that space, whether he's at the beginning, the middle of his journey, I started thinking about all my other peers that I had around me as well too, and some females that I've engaged with before. And I would say in my past 5 to 10 years, I probably done had over 10 people come back to me expressing either verbally I was right, or they was doing it in a subtle way to where they was saying it without saying it that I was right. I don't give a fuck about being right or wrong. I just want people to be aware. That's why I share the information and my experiences with the universe. So we got to understand, while we on this journey, most people are not going to want to take in any kind of information or insight from us. They would much rather wait 5 to 10 years later down the line to come across it from some other way or method or source, and then make their way back to us, or figure out a way to communicate that information back to us. I never understood why, if you just saw them burn their hand on the stove, why do you still need to go behind it to burn yourself, to test it, to see if it's hot? The system couldn't have done a much better job at breaking the families apart, breaking everybody down, separating, dividing, conquering, as they have done. My people was talking about, they're in a much better place. They want to do some helping. I told them, the best way you can help, share one of my 200, 300, 400 videos that I have. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to send me anything. You don't have to do anything of that nature. All I ask for you to do, since you asking me, share one of my videos. You've been my brother my whole life. You already know the trials and tribulations, for the most part, from when we was in the house growing up. He still refuses to hold our mom accountable, but that's probably going to be a thing till when they move on to their next journey. So that's neither here or there. Blame everybody else under the sun except the one being who was in charge of us. You know, I don't hold that weight forever in my life, but those years when I was not responsible for my life to a degree, I have to acknowledge that my caretakers was responsible for me, and they are accountable for some of the environments I was in and some of the survival decisions that I did make when I was at that age. This is what also makes this journey challenging, is that we know we are ahead of the curve. We know that we're moving with Source and Creator, but it's still going to be a lot of people that we care about that will tend to go their own route and own method just because they do not want to build or give us that confirmation that we was accurate in the fields that we were in. You know, you was accurate in that information you was researching and uploading and downloading. You was accurate in how you changed and made certain decisions in your life. You was accurate on how you started moving around different places and locations. We have to spend a lot of time pondering, going back and forth in our inner space, wondering why people are just rejecting us just to reject us. Like, my bro could have been in this space. We could have been built something together a long time ago. But because the team that he was playing for was opposition to my team, we weren't allowed to. So understanding these things, I fell back, gave time, space. Anytime I fall back, give people time and space, they always reflect back and be like, oh, all right, well, he wasn't doing things with ill intention. And it always shows throughout time, but what happens is I still have to take that slap in the face when it's happening. I still have to take that slap in the face. I would never tell nobody jump off no bridge. I would jump off. And I set this example to my brother. I was like, I would never tell none of y'all to jump no creeks that I wouldn't jump. Anytime we was out doing something crazy, big bro gonna do it first. We're gonna jump off this rooftop right here. Let me jump first, make sure it's good. Then you could jump behind me. We about to jump this creek that looked way too big to jump. Let me jump first, then you could jump so I can make sure that it's doable. We did jump creeks before one time. Me and my bro made it, and then our friend that jumped behind us didn't make the jump. He broke his whole arm hitting the side of the creek. But he didn't have to jump, and I jumped before everybody jumped. I'm not accountable for your coordination. Sorry. But in understanding these things, it's always bittersweet. Because we stand in such solidarity when we are in this walk of life. And we know we aren't doing things with their worst intentions at heart, doing it to get over or to snake them. You know, we're doing things genuinely out the kindness of our heart because that's who we are, that's how we operate. I'm the biggest warrior in my proximity. And I still have a big heart, and I still have been in positions where I done split my last and I've given my last. This journey is extremely isolating. I have to manage the process of sharing information, having it rejected in my face with the best intentions, with me giving it, don't know their intentions on rejecting it, and then people coming back expressing out loud or subtle how they could have used this information that I was trying to give to them years ago. I had the same thing happen with my mom's. I've been trying to give my mom all kind of downloads and uploads. The only thing she came back talking to me about was how I was right about Donald Trump. I don't really give a fuck about Donald Trump, just to put that out there in the air. it's, you pick your poisons. You got bad, you got worse. But when he was first making his big run, I just gave her my breakdown as far as if I was to operate within the system, I would vote his way. I don't operate in the system and I don't vote. I don't give a fuck about this system. I really would like for it to crash and we can go back to whoever got the biggest nuts can own this space. That is what I would really like to go to. I don't think y'all understand, like, as men, how hard it is to have this avatar and not be able to use it to its full capacity. It's like having a phone and you got most of your apps locked. You really want to use this app because it's right there and it's convenient for you, but it's locked. And there's no way that you can unlock it without having something damaging happen to your phone. So if most straight masculine men like me was out here and we just start walking around with our chests out, they would be swiping left on us, right? Which is fine. We all got to go on to our next journey. But when they do that, it should be other masculine men to come in to replace our vibration being moved from this realm. Our physical vessels being moved from this realm. When we can get back to that state, that would change everything. We would have more people willing to actually take the information when it's given, opposed from waiting years and years and years down the line for them to mimic, copy, or utilize something that we had already mentioned. I told this other female about how I love being, holistic, meaning that when I see the opposite sex in a more holistic manner, meaning she don't got fake eyelashes, she don't got fake nails, she don't got fake hair, she just naturally herself, she don't got 2 pounds of makeup on. Y'all women could do what the fuck y'all want to do. I'm just expressing how it gives me more admiration for females seeing them in that state. I see plenty of old people in that state. But I mean for the younger ones. You have to stand out on a limb on your own to step out the house without any of those features that I just named. And she came back to me, right, expressing all the same sentiments about all of that stuff I just named, about some of the foods I talked to her about how just being more organic and trying to seek the more natural route away from the system. She came back telling me all this information verbatim, but instead she gave the she basically gave all the sentiments to her mom. I expressed all of this before she even went to visit her mom in another state, before she talked to her mom and hung out with her mom for a while. I gave her all of this. She came back and gave all the credit to her mom, which is cool. I'm not mad at it as long as you receive the information. But it's just funny how people go everywhere around me opposed from directly to me. And I'm not a being that goes around with ill intentions. And it just makes me smile on the inside because it kind of shows like a little bit of admiration and a little bit of fear. And I feel like once we can get past these places and we can convert people over to the godly team, all of that in between witchy sauce that they be utilizing, we wouldn't even have to worry about that. Literally could just put our hands up. You already know, you say what you mean what you say, and people will take it as valid. I know it's a lot of witchcraft out here and a lot of people be lying and doing all that other shit, but it's a lot of people out here that only stand on honesty, and that's by any means necessary. It doesn't matter if they have to take accountability for things not flowing their way, they're still gonna stand on it wholeheartedly, honestly. There is people out here like this. I didn't get mad at any of them I didn't give a lot of pushback to any of them. I just kind of smiled to myself in the inside, you know what I mean? Because I've been walking this way of life with everybody against me for a long time, you know. Even some of the guys that know me, you know, when I was banging this red side, they see me out here in the streets now, they already know what time I'm on. They already know that I'm more spiritually grounded. We not with the drama, but they already know that I'm trained to go. Whether y'all want to do this with the hands or whether y'all want to play with the tools. Your choice. You know what I mean? It's all laid out there for you. But they know that I'm going to communicate with them on a higher vibration and frequency. So even when I bump into some of them, they like, damn, Trak, like, you really been stepping the game up, you know, as far as like knowledge-wise, how you been moving, you know what I'm saying? Like keeping the drama, clearing out the way. You know, I see you speaking up, being solid, like, they don't even engage with me the same way that they used to engage with me. And now when they come to me, they're asking me questions, which is crazy that some of the most gangsters niggas don't have a problem with asking me questions, but the ones who are not gangster are all fearful of asking questions or taking the information that I choose to give to them and utilizing it to their benefit at the point in time it was given. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I gave somebody a cake beginning of this year on their birthday time, but because I gave it to them, they don't want to eat it this year. So they wait 3 years later and was like, oh yeah, oh man, I finally decided to try that cake you gave me, man. That cake was delicious. I'm like, bro, I know. I gave it to you 3 years ago. We could have been had you a whole nother cake. Matter of fact, we could have built the bakery by then. They're not formulating or processing the same way we do. And before I finish out these points, we gotta be mindful of the new people that's growing in to this space that we have already been occupying for years. Because a lot of them are coming in with the demonic side of the spiritual knowledge and information. And when they start speaking, everything sounds way more fucking confusing. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we can have many dimensions in this realm. But right now, we got a lot of retarded people. You have to be able to, seem either similar to the people, or you have to learn how to blend and put the medicine in with the foods that they eat. So I wouldn't try to go give Asian people, you know, cheeseburgers, you know, if they don't eat cheeseburgers, they mostly on rice. If I wanted to put, let's take cheeseburgers out because that's trash. Let's replace cheeseburgers with strawberries. Say I wanted to get them some strawberries, and I would pick the color red. I'm fucking crazy. Gave them some strawberries. They don't really want to eat strawberries. They probably do, but this is for an example. I wanted to give them strawberries, but they just want to eat their rice. I would figure out a way to recipe up a rice special that will have the strawberries either diced or chopped real small in it, or squeezed so that way the flavor is in it. So that way I'm still kind of giving them a taste of the medicine, but they also get it with their liking of their food choice. That's why it's when people are going to some of these low income places into the hoods and they're trying to go speak to them, if you haven't noticed, the ones that the young people are listening to are the ones who are dressed similar to them. Not exactly, but similar to them. When you come around wearing the suits around people who don't dress in suits, it throws them off. It makes them less receptive to the information that you're trying to give them. Our clothes is a reflection, so you can also utilize your clothes as a costume the same way. We are processing in the future and planting seeds today. This is what helps us stay ahead of the curvature in this physical realm. When these people that's growing into this spiritual realm where we've been at for years, and they start giving you information and it sounds far out or confusion, have them simplify it. If they cannot simplify it, if they cannot make it make sense, don't intake it. If they cannot simplify it or make it make sense, do not put that in your registry. Because a lot of people get into this space and they start talking about 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. Like, bitch, we in the middle of a war. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but right now you only need to focus on 2 realms. Physical realm, spiritual realm. I'm not going to teach a first grader 6th grade math. I'm not going to teach a second grader 12th grade history. You have to feed them and give them the things that they need for the levels they are at. I want to give my daughter all this knowledge and information, but she isn't at these levels. So I have to feed it to her in increments, no matter how bad I want to hurry up and get it to her. A lot of these beings will use this confusion spiritualism to make it seem like they're ahead of the curvature, when really they're still just as lost in the sauce. Don't talk to me about 5D when you could just say the spiritual realm and simplify it for me and for everybody else. I already understand what the 5D is. And 5D didn't become a terminology that they're using until this shift. They keep adding new words anytime they know that we're about to get ahead of something. They add one of their leaders or one of their spokesmen to come up and start preaching and teaching new terminologies for us. We don't have to make it that complicated. We're already ahead of them. That's why when they're talking and saying these things and it sound confusion, you're already at the other side of them when they're finished. You're over here waiting like, all right, where's the rest of it? Like, I thought it was going to be something more attached to it. Right now, you just literally took my food and you put your hands in it and you mixed it all up like this. Like, I didn't want my food like that. I had my fruits right here. I had my veggies right here. I had my bullshit food that I like to eat sometimes right here. You know, I had my drink right there. It wasn't all mixed up. It was organized. So I can get to that one, that one, that one, that one. I can get to this drink or that drink if I got 2 drinks. Sometimes I want tea and water with my meals. We have to be mindful of these things and just work on not being too frustrated for you having access to a lot of knowledge and information, for you being ahead of the curvature. Don't put too much negative vibrations on yourself because you're trying to give people helpful insight. Like a lot of them, when they start coming into this space, they're like, I want to help everybody. Hey, I be so weak. Because once you do this for a while, you realize you cannot help everybody. That's another way you can tell where they are at in the spiritual realm. Because when you first start off, you want to help everybody. You don't give a damn who it is. It could be the highest god body. It could be the lowest demon. You only concerned with helping everybody. Until them demons start taking you and slashing you and trashing you, you know, sabotaging you. Then you realize, oh shit. They are not receptive. They are only trying to hurt me. I'm feeding them knowledge and information to utilize against me. I heard my brother was saying this and like wanting to help everybody. I'm like, bro, like, I love to help people, but it's a war. So if there's a war, I cannot help everybody. Everybody is not on my team. I will not sacrifice myself for people who are not on my team, who are going against me, who are going against Creator and Source, who are going against my allies who riding with Creator and Source. I don't have no help. I can help you. I can help you move your ass on to the next journey faster. That's what I can help you with. But as far as giving you new tools, new weapons, new identities for your masks, I'm not a fan of it. I am not a fan of it. I'm going to stay ahead of the curvature, which I didn't know I was there until I got all of these examples thrown in front of me, and then I was like, oh shit. So having the knowledge and the wherewithal of where I'm also placed at and where I've also moved up at, because sometimes you don't never know you moved up in the spiritual rankings until you bump into other beings who are connected in the spiritual realm. People can be connected, you know, and disconnected at the same time. You was connected in the spiritual realm because we all spiritual beings, and I believe most 98, 99% of people, you know, born on godly vibrations. Yes, there probably are 1% to 2% people that are born on demon time. It's just that simple, you know. It's never an all or nothing kind of thing. But for the most part, I do believe most or all is born on godly time. You know what I mean? So just understanding these things, we got to keep this in mind. We got to stay tapped in. Don't burn yourself out. You are not going to be able to help everybody. The ones you do care about, you can drop the information on the table for them. You can pull the horse to the water, but then you go on about your business. You don't try to figure out how to force the horse to drink. If the horse is thirsty enough, the horse will drink the water. If the horse don't, and we come back and we see the horse dead by the water, the horse was supposed to go anyways. It was his time. The universe was calling it to get up out of here. You know what I mean? But just keep these things in mind when we operating out here in this spiritual war. You know, we got a lot of mixed vibrations out here. We got everybody on this, oh, this is my truth, this is my truth, this is my truth. Yeah, well, I know of one truth, creator and source. My truth is connected to creator and source, so you'll never hear me talking about, oh, well, it's my truth. It's my truth. You know what I mean? If people are saying you can't read minds because you can judge them based off of their actions and their communications, and we're already thinking forward in the future, you can read minds. We do this for real. We don't have to have the biggest bag to be walking out here in this realm with the biggest spirit on God body time. I ain't gonna run it up too long though. Tapping everything down below in the description. Peace and love to the kings and queens.